I scanned the club from the end of the long bar. I saw the table of my wife's coworkers. She wasn't sitting with them. The dance floor was crowded, but you couldn't miss him. He looked like he just stepped out of a Harlequin novel. Long flowing black hair, dark tan, and the top 2 buttons of his black shirt unbuttoned. He must be a gym rat or work construction, as he looked more than just a little fit. I had no doubt he sported a 6-pack or maybe a 12-pack under that tight shirt of his. The worst part about this whole thing was that he was dancing with my wife, Megan, and probably had the entire night. I drained my first and only drink of the night. She wasn't worth getting a DWI on the way home tonight. 5 weeks ago, when she came home from her Friday girls' night out, she woke me up and almost F'd me to death. It shocked the S out of me. It was a surprise. A nice surprise, but still a surprise. "Thanks, I needed that," she said, kissing me one last time as we both tried to catch our breath. "I need a shower, you game?" What was I going to say? No. It was a long shower. We fooled around and more than once I had to tell her to be quiet. I didn't want her waking up the kids in the next room. Back in bed, she cuddled up next to me and immediately went to sleep. I didn't. We'd been married 10 years, and in the last couple of years this was one of only a few times Megan had been the aggressor. Don't get me wrong, she always got into it even when she wasn't in the mood, but I could count on one hand the number of times she'd initiated love-making lately. And the worst part about it tonight, I don't even think she was drunk. She'd made those advances while she was sober. I spent the next hour looking at the dark ceiling wondering what the hell happened tonight that had gotten her so worked up. I came down to a noisy breakfast. My 2 boys were arguing about something and Megan was frying up bacon and eggs. "Any coffee?" I asked. "Just made it, help yourself." I poured a cup and sat down at the table. I watched her as my boys went on arguing with each other. "How do I bring up last night?" "You have fun last night?" She turned around and looked at me. "I mean before you came home?" I smiled at her. "Yes, I did. They had a new band and I danced my feet off. I even had a 3rd glass of wine." I saw a wicked grin wash across her face. "Like the way I kissed you goodnight when I got home?" "Hated it. I think you should try it again tonight to see if you can get it right this time. If not, we'll just have to keep trying every night until you do." Now she was the one smiling. Men. Give them a taste and they expect it all the time. Not all the time, but 3 to 4 nights a week would be nice. With our work schedules? Be happy with what you're getting. Maybe we'll sneak in another session after we go grocery shopping today. That is if you're good. "Oh, I'll be good, you can count on that," I said, walking towards her. "Back off, bucko. If I burn breakfast it'll be your fault. Sit back down, drink your coffee and settle your 2 boys down." "Yes, my love." And I meant every word of that. She was my love and her and my 2 boys were my life. We did make love when we got back that afternoon. It was behind locked doors as the boys played video games on the living room floor. It wasn't as wild as last night, but she did need to muffle her screams of joy with a pillow. We hadn't done that in I don't remember how long. I was walking on air. When it happened the following 2 Friday nights, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Then it stopped. That Friday night I heard the garage door open and then close. I lay there, faking sleep, waiting for her to come upstairs. She didn't. She undressed, took a shower and slipped in bed next to me. I didn't even get a goodnight kiss. Only silence. Crap. I was primed. I watched her the following morning. She acted normal, but I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen in almost 12 years, uncertainty. While dating we hit a rough patch. I wanted to take it to the final step and she kept putting me off. In her eyes it was like stepping off a cliff. I knew she was AV and I told her hundreds of times I loved her and that I wanted to marry her, but it didn't seem to make any difference to her. She was calling the shots. "Rick, I know you love me and all, but I'm not sure if I'm ready. Once I take that final step, there is no going back. I need to be sure." 3 weeks later it happened. We were watching a movie in my apartment and cuddling on my sofa. Neither one of us had anything to drink that night. She calmly grabbed the remote and turned off the movie. Without a word she grabbed my hand and led me back to my bedroom. "You sure about this?" She didn't answer. She just kissed me. Clothes disappeared and for the next hour I did my best to make her first time memorable. Then she pulled me up to her face. "Steve, make love to me." After that we did it every time we went out. When Megan went on the pill, it made it that much better not having to worry about her getting pregnant. 6 months later I proposed. She said yes and moved in with me. Both parents didn't like the idea of us living in sin, so 3 months later we got married. I wanted to wait a year so we could have a big wedding and an extended honeymoon, but Megan was satisfied with what we eventually had. Truthfully, I think she was just happy to get everyone off our asses. Over the next year we tried it all. Megan had absolutely no sexual hang-ups and wanted to try everything. I was experienced but had never tried and few other things she brought up after coming home after a girls' night out. Is that all you girls do is talk about it and compare husbands? I asked one night. You guys are the ones who are insecure when it comes to your sexuality. We can have a lot of fun with it and no, it's not going to replace you. She was smiling, thank God. Our collection of toys grew and 6 months later Megan came home with a film. That didn't necessarily surprise me but the subject matter did, big you know what. I hated. Megan's eyes were riveted to what was happening on the screen. Then she pulled out her thing and started working as we watched. I'd had enough. I left. I spent the next couple of hours wondering what Megan was going to come up with next and if I was on the way out. I thought I was satisfying her in bed, but now I wasn't so sure. My head didn't clear and I realized I wasn't comfortable with where certain aspects of our life was going. I wanted to make tender love to my wife. I got home just after midnight. Where in the hell have you been? I've been worried sick and couldn't reach you because you left your damn cell phone on the counter. I'd done that on purpose. You finish watching your movie yet? If not, I can come back when you're done. Thankfully she caught the sarcasm in my voice. I stopped watching it when you left. Are you that insecure about your size? I gave her an ugly look. Okay, I was curious, all right. I wanted to see what Anne was talking about when she said about her husband. So now you're comparing me to every one of your girlfriend's husbands? Maybe I don't want all your friends to know what I have. Please Steve, I know you guys talk about us when you're together. Yeah we do but not about all this. We tell each other what our wives can be sometimes and how they tell us what we can and can't do. I've never asked any on my friends how their wife is. The only things we do talk about are the girls we see at the clubs or in the malls and wonder how they'd be in bed. Well, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. It won't happen again. She lied. She did. The next one she brought home had guys doing it. As soon as I saw what was on it, I popped it out of the DVD player, opened up our apartment window and tossed it out. Hey! She screamed looking out the window. You go down there and find that DVD. It's on my credit card. You want it, you find it. I'm going to bed. There was no tenderness that night. I can't believe I'm married to a guy who's insecure about who he is. I'm not trying to replace you with someone. Understand? I'm just curious about what's out there. Rick, I've never been with anyone but you. Hell, until you I'd only seen about 7 or so and those were at male review nights. You can imagine how big those guys were. Megan, what's next, swinging? You want to F one of my friends or watch me with one of your girlfriends? Megan, your fascinations are starting to scare the hell out of me. Just so we're clear, I don't share. Rick, relax. Maybe I'm trying to learn about everything too fast. I want to please you and I want to experience all the kinky things I've heard or read about with you. You're my husband, if I can't discuss this with you, who can I talk about it with? She had a good point. Then, we do this together and if one of us gets uncomfortable we back off. Understood? It was a wild ride. The next 2 years was great. Our life was off the charts and then something came up that spoiled it all. Megan got pregnant with Danny. After he was born things never went back to what they'd been. I want another one, Megan said breastfeeding Danny one night. I only want 2 and I want them close together so they can be playmates and best friends. When are you planning on going off the pill? I did a week ago. Sorry. I meant to tell you, but things have been so crazy around here lately. So, you might already be pregnant? She looked a little squeamish. I might be, she said trying to avoid my eyes. I wish you'd talk to me before taking matters into your own hands. How about if I didn't want another one? Sorry, was all she said, now not meeting my eyes. I was pissed. Not because I didn't want another one, more so that Megan never talked to me about it in advance. I felt used. The next 2 weeks were more than a little tense. There was no lovemaking and I turned her down for it at least 6 times. First. When are you going to stop pouting? Mama needs some loving. You've got more than enough toys to get you off, was my angry reply. I don't want toys, I want you. I'll consider it only after you find out if you're pregnant or not. It only took 3 more days. A sullen Megan was waiting for me when I got home from work. I F up. Is that what you want me to say? I'm pregnant satisfied? I wasn't but there wasn't anything I could do about it anymore. For once we didn't argue, we talked. I wasn't happy about the timing of it but there wasn't much I could do about it now. I was going to be a father again. Robert was a big boy and Megan had a lot of trouble delivering him. She probably should have had him by cesarean. Never again, is all Megan said after she was put in a room. Hell, it was a month before she'd even let me come near her. The next couple of years were busy raising 2 boys, especially after Megan changed jobs. She was a nurse and her hour rotated every other month. It got so bad, I had to make an appointment to make love with wife. It took 2 more years before Megan's job stabilized and life became normal again. I felt like I'd lost 4 years of my marriage. Not really lost, more so struggled through. Lovemaking started again in earnest, and with me getting snipped, there would be no more surprises. We did it usually once during the week and twice on the weekends. I wanted more, but that's all we seemed to have time for. When Megan said that she and her group of coworkers were stopping for drinks after work on Friday, I wasn't happy about it at first. "Rick, if you also want to stop after work and join us, you're more than welcome." I stopped a couple of times, but it wasn't anything I wanted to do on an ongoing basis. I felt like the fifth wheel, as I was usually the only guy at a table of 6 to 8 women. What made me finally stop going was one Friday night we were all having a pretty good time. A few guys were asking more than one of the ladies to dance. Then a good-looking guy came over and asked me to dance. At first I thought he was kidding. He wasn't. "Your friend said you were gay and loved to dance." He pointed to the women, including my wife, on the dance floor. "Since it looks like we're the only gay ones here tonight, you want to dance?" I told him I wasn't, but for some reason he thought I was lying to him. "Look, they're playing a sick joke on the two of us. I could see them having a good laugh at my expense. And if I would be honored to dance with a good-looking guy like yourself. And don't worry, they're going to pay dearly for this little stunt." He left and I planned my revenge. You know, there are a lot more lesbians and bi women than gay men in clubs. I didn't know that until I slipped the lead singer of the band $200 bills and told him to announce something every time they played a slow song. He smiled. This was going to be fun. "Sorry, Rick," Janice and my wife said when they came off the dance floor. "I wished you could have seen the look on your face when he asked you to dance. It was priceless." They both kept it up until the subject got old. Then I got my revenge. The lead singer did it for me. "We've got a special request for a slow dance from table 8, and guys, don't bother asking these ladies to dance because they don't swing that way, if you know what I mean." I went to their table as the lights dimmed and a spotlight shone on their table. Just like deer caught in a headlight, no one moved. Their eyes scanned the crowd looking for me, but I was long gone. "Rick, where the hell are you?" my bride asked, storming into the kitchen. I was sipping on a beer. That was not nice. "Okay, you owed us one, but we did it in private. You singled us out to everyone." "What's the matter? Couldn't keep up with all the dance requests?" Very funny, she was now chuckling, trying not to laugh. Carol and Jan didn't catch what the singer said, and when a couple of women asked them to dance they thought nothing about it. That is until the ladies asked for more than a dance. I shouldn't laugh, but it was funny.